Hi, I'm Clark Wilson. I'm a registered investment advisor in the state of California, and this video is about the efficient market theory and modern portfolio theory. So let's start off with the efficient market theory. We can't really ascribe that to anybody in particular, but what the efficient market theory basically says is that everything trades for what it should trade for every day, given all of the conditions in the market. Let me try that again. Everything trades for what it should trade for every day, given all the conditions in the market. That's all the people, all the news, all the everything. And it assumes, of course, that everybody knows everything at the same time. Okay? So it's a straight supply and demand market. In other words, it is a pure market. It doesn't have any other forces acting upon it that nobody doesn't know about. Okay? So that's the efficient market theory. Now, in the 1950s, a man named Harry Markowitz studied the market from the 1930s. Now remember, in the 1930s, it was only an open outcry market. There was a specialist, and he was standing at his specialist station at the New York Stock Exchange, and he would sell shares out of his inventory to people who wanted to buy them, and buy shares from people who wanted to sell them into his inventory. Into his inventory he bought, and out of his inventory he sold. And he was a specialist in the particular issue, and that is how it was done in the 1930s. This is the market that Harry Markowitz studied in the 1950s. And he came up with the modern portfolio theory from this study, for which he won the Nobel Prize in 1992. And basically what he said was, because everything trades for what it should trade for every single day, given all of the conditions in the market, the only way you can protect yourself is to buy some of this and some of that and some of this and some of that and some of this and some of that, so that when this one goes up, that one goes down. When that one goes down, that one goes up. And you're always going to be okay because you're properly diversified. So it's a diversified portfolio that Harry Markowitz made up. Okay, so that's great. And of course it works, doesn't it? Sure. You can have some of this and some of that and some of this and some of that, and when that one goes up, that one goes down, and when that one goes down, that one goes up, and you're always going to be okay if you have just something across the spectrum. It works all the time, doesn't it? Well, let's take a look at this graph here. Yes, of course, it works all the time. Look at that. Why, that's beautiful. Look at that. Just goes right up like that. Man, this is great. Look at that thing. It works right up until, oops, it doesn't. That's right. Look at that. What happened? Huh? What happened there? My goodness. Why, it just went down. It flew like a rock there. What the heck happened? Well, yeah, everything works just fine right up until it doesn't. Okay? So if you had a diversified portfolio, then what would happen to you? Yeah, the same thing that happened to a lot of people in 2008, huh? So does diversification work? Well, not really. Does a diversified portfolio work? Well, not really. Not when everything is going to Hades in a handcart, it doesn't, no. Now, 401k plans have a real serious problem with this, because they have typically only 20 to 30 mutual funds in them at any given moment in time, and at any given moment in time, the market is only going to like 1, 2, or 3 of those funds, and everything else it's probably not going to like. And so if you do a diversified portfolio using modern portfolio theory in a 401k plan, why you're really going to be up a creek without a paddle. And that's why when I do things, of course, I take a look at what the market likes, and that's what I like too. Okay, let's go back to the market now. From the 1930s, that's the one that Harry Markowitz studied. Something happened in 1972. Do you know what that was? Well, I'll tell you. It's the National Association of Securities Dealers automated quotation system came into being. Now, it was no longer an open outcry. There was no specialist involved. There were only market makers involved, and they were all on the computer. They were all on a network. And they made the markets in these issues. And it created a new kind of trader, a day trader. Sometimes we would call them scalpers. Someone who would go in and take a big position for 10 seconds and then go out. And then go in and take another big position for 10 seconds and then get out. Okay, trying to make money on little teeny tiny moves with a lot of shares over a short period of time. Day traders, scalpers. Now, let's go back to the efficient market theory. Do those trades from those day traders have anything to do with how the public perceives the company? Probably not. It has nothing to do with that. And so, consequently, it doesn't contribute to an efficient market. Okay? The next thing that happened, of course, is since the 1930s and the 1950s, actually since the 1970s, the government has gotten really involved in the market. And the government being involved in the market is a lot like throwing a boulder into a shot glass. When they get involved in the market, they just run everybody out. So the government's involved. We've got day traders, we've got scalpers that have nothing to do with the efficient market theory, nothing to do with how people perceive this company, rightly or wrongly, up or down, good or bad. So it isn't a pure market. It isn't a supply and demand market. Now, there are some strategies out there that actually beat the market averages all day, every day. There's a number of them, and I know one in particular myself. Even ERISA now says, ERISA is the Employee Retirement Investment Safety Act of 1974, says in it that you have to use modern portfolio theory to create your 401k plan. Okay, even though we know modern portfolio theory doesn't work. So, because you have to put your 401k plan together pursuant to modern portfolio theory, you got to do it because it's the law. The second thing, though, is you don't have to allocate that way. So, in other words, you could go find the best thing to put the money into at any given point in time and put your money into that. And, of course, that's what I do. Now, let's talk about using the modern portfolio theory outside of the 401k plan. Just use it for a regular person. It's also called a profile. They take your age from 100. So it's 100 minus your age, and that's how much you should have in stocks. And then the rest is mixed with mutual funds and bonds and bond funds and global and domestic and this and that and the other thing. Okay? Who does that work for? Well, I'll tell you who it works for. It works for your advisor, the guy who's got your account. Because it takes him, let's say, 5 hours or thereabouts to get you in as a customer. He's called you on the phone for 15 minutes at a whack or a half an hour, and he's talked to you and talked to you and talked to you, and finally you agree to give him your account. So then you show up, and he spends a half an hour with you in the office, filling out all the paperwork and getting your money transferred over and all that. So let's say the total to get you in the door and get the account set up is about 5 hours. Then every 3 months after that, he's going to rebalance your portfolio, and that'll take about 15 minutes because he just looks at what the geniuses at his firm want, and then he'll put you in that stuff. And then that's 15 minutes for the next 9 months. So for a year, he's got 5 hours and 45 minutes invested in you. And if you have a $1 million account and he's getting 2%, that's $20,000, and that's pretty good money, if you ask me. So that's who it works for. Modern portfolio theory works great for the guy who's doing that. And, of course, that's why we don't do that. So anyway, what do you do? Well, here's what you can do. You can ask a prospective professional if they use modern portfolio theory. And if they say yes, okay, then probably you want somebody else. You can also ask them if asset allocation is the most important thing to them. And if they say yes, then probably you'd be looking for somebody else. You could ask somebody if they use your personal profile to figure out your asset allocation. If they say yes, you probably want somebody else. Okay, you could call me. That's one of the possibilities. Anyway, my name is Clark Wilson. I'm a registered investment advisor in California, and this has been the Efficient Market Theory and Modern Portfolio Theory, and I thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next video.